Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, may I have your attention, please? Are you ready to engage in a mind-blowing experience and hear talks about life, technology, entertainment, and business? The next episode of HIPTHER Talks starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi everyone, Zoltan here from HIPTHER Talks. It's nice to see you again. Thank you for subscribing to our podcast. I have with me today a great friend from PandaScore. The company name might sound very interesting. They are actually in eSports. And I have with me today Oliver Niner, head of sales at PandaScore. Hi, Oliver. Ollie, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Zoltan. How are you, mate?
All good. So, could you give us a little bit of background information about how you got started, or maybe something about your career that you would like to highlight to our audience?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so for those who don't know me, I started out in the betting and gaming industry in 2005. I started very early at BetGenius when BetGenius was a tiny little odds comparison white label company. Was there for a long time, was there for 8 years, and then moved on, worked operator side at Marathon Bet for 2 years, then went to Malta. So lived my time in Malta, which I think a lot of people in the industry either live in Malta or they live in Gibraltar. Worked for a startup over there, and then came back to the UK, worked in prize insurance. And then most recently, before PandaScore, I was working for a platform based out of Ukraine. And then joined PandaScore as head of sales in kind of late March 2021, so last year.
Yeah, that's a lot of companies in your background, which are very well known, and also PandaScore is one of the leaders of the esports betting. Okay, so let's dive into the questions. Can you tell us more about your partnership with Sporting Solution?
Yeah, we're giving you a little bit of exclusive, Zoltan, so it's quite...
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
We haven't put it to press yet, but yeah, we're very excited, and we're already talking to some of our clients, or some of the kind of advanced prospects about integrating through them. So it's it's the word is out anyway. We will obviously be releasing some kind of more formal kind of announcement very shortly. But yeah, we're very excited. I know they are. We're having the endorsement of a company like Sporting Solutions in terms of pedigree is fantastic for us. It shows the quality of our trading, really, and the quality of the data we produce and that is powered by our trading. And we're delighted that they have some premium clients, some of the top tier ones in the world. And we're psyched. They are. We've completed the integration. Integration will be ready very shortly. So essentially, it enables us to bring the PandaScore premium esports odds service to multiple customers. And when you couple that with some of our front end, our widgets, and some of our front end pieces we can do with those clients as well, it's going to be incredibly powerful. We know. We're wise enough in the industry to know, though we can integrate very quickly ourselves and people do direct integrations, we know that actually having an existing partnership with Sporting Solutions enables customers to integrate our odds quickly. And that's important. And we don't want, we're very conscious of not impacting, taking the step to not impact dev pipelines and backlogs too much. The other thing as well is, Sporting have got some, and it's more for them to tell you about that. I'm sure they will, but they've got some ambitious plans globally, and esports really fits into that. So we love the endorsement to know that, they're embracing esports as a product to go into new markets, new territories, and target new customer groups. So, that kind of thing all round, it's just a match made in heaven, and we're all delighted.
So to our listeners, at the time of recording this session, this is an exclusive news about the PandaScore partnership with Sporting Solution. And yeah, it means a lot, most probably for your operator partners and for both companies such a partnership.
Absolutely. Longer term, there's a piece there about their risk management piece. It's something, we pride ourselves again on producing on what we call the true price in esports. So we're all our R&D and all of our data science goes into making sure that price for esports punters is the true price. You couple that with award-winning risk management, it's going to be a very, very powerful tool that both of our customers can engage with. So yeah, very excited. Lots of stuff that can go on in the future.
Yeah, I think recently everywhere you look is all about esports or metaverse. So that's the two trending.
CEO absolutely loves the metaverse. Honestly, you could talk for hours about it.
Yeah, exactly. So how has esports betting changed in the recent months? Are bettors more demanding when it comes to the odds market that is being offered to them?
They are. They're more engaged. I think esports bettors have always been very engaged. They're savvy punters. I think you're getting more and more people. I think because the culture's changing in terms of how people consume media, I think esports is more of a fit to that. So it kind of fits in with that younger kind of demographic. And I think what we're seeing is those kind of esports fits into that method of consumption. So it's about how you consume streams and things. I'm an old I was described in one publication as a veteran, which I didn't like at all. But basically, I'm an old, I'm a UK guy who has his Sky Sports subscription, and I pay that. But I'm a dying breed. That doesn't happen anymore. People want, even in sports, they want to consume bite-sized media and do that. And esports really fits in with that. So I think what we're finding is that method of consumption is powering how people consume esports. Yeah. When you talk about odds specifically, it's very interesting. I mean, we've seen a lot of, so we were one of the first to launch player markets, so player props in CSGO. And we've seen quite a lot of, though that may sound, like we're following a trend with sports, but actually it's a very different thing with esports. It's kind of a new concept. So we've seen quite a lot of growth there and a lot of turnover on that. So esports punters are betting on that, and they're embracing that. I think the market is maturing. I think customer behavior is learning more, what to bet on. So it's moving, maybe slowly moving away from the line and the kind of traditional kind of central markets, and going into, side markets, and people are seeing what we can do.
Yeah. So hearing that the esports market is already maturing is kind of scary.
It has. I mean, it's one of those things that it's a little bit of a bugbear of mine, or something that I get slightly frustrated about when you go to conferences and you see the same tagline about esports gets put in as, will 2023 be the year for esports? And it's like, well, no, actually the year for esports has been and gone, guys. You got to get on the bandwagon. Will 2022 be the year that you actually get involved and actually harness this power which is coming? Because otherwise you're going to be too late. You're going to be competing in a very competitive space. We saw how quickly, I saw it firsthand, how quickly Bet365 dominated the live football market, and how other companies, and then how other companies then dominated the live tennis and live basketball market. And this is, there is an opportunity for operators to get their market share and to get good product in there. And they haven't done this yet. They've taken, in my opinion, the easy option and had esports as a kind of tacked on service with other providers. Some providers which are very close to my heart, but they don't. Then esports is not their top priority. So with us, it's time that operators now just embrace a provider that has dedicated services purely focused on esports. So then you can actually harness that potential and that growth, and that, get a part of it, and actually put your stamp as a brand and as an operator onto that space. Because it's now the time to do that.
Yeah. So I think it's now the time to brag about the bet builder tool that you have. Since we approached this part where you mentioned that operators need to consider working with a provider that's specialized in that niche. So could you tell us more about Bet Builder?
100%. We're still in the it's still in the development phase. It's very, very close to completion. We're going to be going live with, I can't tell you who they are, but we'll obviously publish that when it comes. But we're going to be going live with 2 of our existing customers who are who have been fantastic in kind of giving us their, we're very customer centric at PandaScore. So we're giving, taking their feedback and
that's good.
It's part of our DNA, basically. We listen to we're consultative, and we listen to what our customers want and what they think would work. It's the only way you're going to build effective product. But yes, so it's going to be first in the industry. It's purely focused on esports. No other, not a bet builder product, which is, for football and tennis, and then you can kind of plug your esports into it. No, it's purely based around what we think will work. Our pedigree in esports, understanding how esports bettors are, and yeah, we're dead excited. I probably will have something to demo and show you by the time ICE comes around. So, message to your viewers and listeners, come and find me, come and find one of my team, and we'll show you it. And then, get involved, and we'll start a commercial discussion, and we can get it live for you, this year. We think it's going to be very powerful. We're going CSGO first. It makes sense. And, throughout the kind of the rest of the year, we're working on the other esports to see how we can kind of do that most effectively. We will be taking our time with doing that rollout. It's not going to be something that we're going to just fire out, all these esports for this one thing. I think the Bet Builder product's got to be specific and got to work for CSGO, and then we're going to see what we can do with League of Legends or Dota. We haven't decided on the order yet. We'll see what we can do to do something effective for those, because it'll be a slightly different game.
Yeah. So esports betting is like we discussed about 10 minutes ago. It's a very where bettors have changing demands. So yeah. I just wanted to ask you if this bet builder tool is developed to meet this type of changing demands, or do you need to adapt it later?
I think we know there's appetite for it. I think giving users customization where they want it and being able to do bet, kind of really effective bet combos and, bet on the things that they want to do at the same time, I think is very important. I think any form of customer customization is vital. You want to give your end user in any form of e-commerce, you want to give them as much flexibility and, enablement to build the kind of the service that they want. So I think that's a kind of inherent truth. For us with Bet Builder, I think I love the concept of and this is my concept, it's not PandaScore concept, but I love the concept of the esports book. So I see esports not just, again, and it's a mentality thing. I think from old school industry, you kind of people see esports as one thing, and it's usually kind of halfway down the side of the left hand nav of an operator, and there's esports, and then you open it out, and then you see CSGO, Dota, all these guys. Esports is its own esports book, and I'm not being specific about UI here, but I think if you view each different esport as its sport in its own right, then it will flourish and grow. And I think that's the important thing about a bet builder that we're building is it's based around that concept. It's based around that thing where we take CSGO and we go, how would a bet builder look to that game, to that customer experience, to engage with those bettors? How would it work and be effective, for a trading team and for an operator? What do we think are the most important variables and things of that? What should make up that? And that's our process. And we'll be doing that over and over. And I think you're right, demands and customer input will shape it and will continue to grow. We, again, innovation and change and product development is at the heart of our company. We build new product very quickly. Because again, we're focused solely on esports. We're not thinking about these other things. So I think, to answer your question, yes, in short.
Yeah, it's interesting how history repeats itself, as there was a time when at ICE, the land-based industry was looking at iGaming as something that will not succeed, is going to be something that is just going to be given as a side opportunity for people to gamble. But now it has taken over completely, almost. Yeah. And I think we are in that period of time when esports and peer-to-peer blockchain gaming is considered the same by the sports betting industry, now online sports betting industry. So my next question is esports betting now considered a significant vertical among sportsbook operators?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah, the right one. Yeah, it is. And it should be. Not all. Does that translate into people prioritizing it? No. And a lot of that has to do with geography. And a lot of that does have to do with product roadmaps as well. But if you look at the pedigree of the operators that do it well, Betway, Bet365.
They are very well connected. Yeah.
And the fact, again, we'll come back to our Sporting Solutions partnership. We're gonna, I can't kind of tease them, but we've got some tier one signing up with us, who we're delighted to work with. But the pedigree of operator that's getting on board with esports and knows that they have to, knows that it's like it. Otherwise, you're not going to be engaged with that users. Traditional sports betting casino users are getting old. That demographic is shrinking. We know it is. It's been happening for years. Esports is the natural engine to power that engagement with a younger audience. Esports are a wide-ranging audience. CS:GO goes back to the early 2000s in terms of kind of like people betting on it and as a service, as a thing. But I think that engagement is going to come through esports, and also going back again to my first point about the learnings that consumption of esports and how people behave around it, how they use Twitch, how they use these things, will shape how people consume media in other sports. So I think it's I think it's definitely, it should be there. Is it the fifth vertical that people think it is? I don't know. But it's definitely there to stay. I've got a customer who takes more money on esports than they do basketball. We see other customers. I've seen other customers who say that there's potential for it to go that far. How long it would take to do that? Your big sports in big regions are never going to be touched. Football, horse racing from the UK, and
you never know. It's just a question of time.
It is, exactly. But is esports more engaging than, there's other very niche sports which are very popular, but is esports more engaging than volleyball? And, I know table tennis is doing amazingly at the moment, so I can't really say too much on that. But, it's competing there, with these other sports because it has its own unique cultural fan base. It's less niche than cricket is, and cricket takes a huge amount of money in India. So it's kind of this thing where people just have to kind of go. It's a mentality step, I think, with the industry where some people think, it's not, I don't get it, so I'm not gonna, I don't have to do it because I don't get it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so let's talk about integration. Have you identified some main challenges that operators face when integrating esports betting? I'm talking about integrating esports betting for the first time, and how can they overcome these challenges?
So it's, the issue that comes up over and over again is actually more about backlog and prioritization.
Oh, okay.
In terms of the technicality, we haven't seen much come up. Our customers are very engaged. We're doing 2 new integrations at the moment, and they've taken, I think one or two. When we're actually talking about the fundamental technical work, it takes around about a month for us to integrate a new customer. Okay. And we've done it quicker. Some customers have done it slower. It's all about actually the engagement and the customer. So the customer service that the provider offers at that point. So we have a fantastic integration manager. He's really good at his job. He's very engaged. Handholds the customer all the way through to the end of the process. And we have the documentation in place, and we're super confident technically. We're really good. I've worked for a few companies, and I've known, we're very, very good at that. And so on a technicality process, it's fine. It comes down to how you engage, and are you connected up to the right parts of the customer that you're talking to, and are you going through the steps at the right time? And I think that's the biggest challenge. It's a PM kind of challenge. And then fundamentally, it then comes down to time and the timing. You know, and that brings us full circle to that question about prioritization, and it's a command that's maybe kind of sits somewhere between technical and commercial. But the technicality of it, no, we haven't seen too much. There's a bit of education. There's operational education. You know, our customers have direct access to our head of trading, and we offer that 24/7 service. And we, you know, so there's that. You know, if they're unschooled in esports or have some questions about behaviors and, you know, what markets are and how they, you know, what they do, that's always available. So I think for us, it's definitely about making sure that the right parts of each business are hooked up and are communicating. And then you make sure you get the technicality right. You make sure you get and you make sure the resources there.
Yeah, that's a good point. So ultimately, what is the benefit of operators entering the esports betting market, and how can you help them do this?
It's that engagement. I think we've kind of spoke about this a few times, haven't we? So I come back to the same thing, really. It's really embracing the fact that this is the future. This is how you can learn so much from actually. Not only is esports a massively popular, you know, still compared to when you look at the size of the market and actually the amount of revenue that isn't tapped in from it into it, there's still so much potential for growth, and we just see, you know, growth in our bet volume constantly. It's you know, keeps on going up, so people are consuming it. So there's that, and that's massively important. That's what keeps us all in work, and, you know, we'll continue to grow. But then there's that, more kind of like more interest, you know, more nebulous piece, which is about the kind of like how customers engage with the market, and are you engaging with your products, sorry, not market, and how are they consuming and engaging with the kind of the wider universe that you're talking about? Esports just keeps on growing, and having access to that from a betting perspective, from a media company perspective, which betting companies are, you know, they're media and marketing companies, having that access to that is vitally important. And learning, you know, the industry has a tendency to get a bit stodgy, to, you know, do the same things over and over again. You know, go to ice, you know, I went to ice like from years, you know, I lose track of time now because of the pandemic, but say, you know, you go any time I went between 2017 or maybe even before that, 2016 and 2019, the lay of the land hadn't really changed. There wasn't too much new there. You know, everyone had the same stands and the products were pretty much the same. That kind of
just new slots, game releases announced every hour, etc.
Exactly, and this is it. If you look at the things that we're doing, you know, look how quickly like Panda Score, you know, other companies are doing this as well, are releasing and doing new product. You see that there's that innovation path. And I think that's, again, what esports can do, build that innovation, that momentum, that speed, and change the betting market. I think that's already happening. So yeah, I think that's it's big, you know, revenue, product, and innovation. And I think those are the big kind of things that esports will bring value, you know, to the operator. And sorry, Matt, I've got one more thing as well, which I think is quite interesting, which is again where we can help with is going back to that engagement piece as well. Is, you know, how does a customer behave when moving between, you know, the different verticals? You know, we know very well about how a customer behaves when moving between sportsbook, casino, sportsbook, other things. We're learning now how a customer like what the customer behavior is when they come in from an esports perspective and what they bet on. You know, our customers have very different, you know, some of our more esports specific customers have very specific product sets, which are quite interesting. So the behavior is a little bit different. And we've got those learnings. And we produced for one of our prospects, actually in the late winter, just before Christmas, we produced a piece which was a sort of a guide or kind of an instruction as to how esports has grown, where it's going to go, and what the methodologies are that you can adopt. And for PandaScore, we believe in consultative led relationship building. So we are there from the start to the, you know, throughout the relationship. We will grow with you. We will advise you. We will say, you know, do you want to have a separate esports website as part of your kind of, like, your esports product, which is separate to your sports book, or do you want to have a new vertical? Do you want to have this? Do you want to have it as part of your sports? what front end tools, we do front end stuff, we do statistics, we do all of these different things and we can advise about how that would best engage with esports fans. And I think that's incredibly important. We have that with, our backbone and our pedigree and our culture is all around esports. With that, with people like myself and our head of trading and our data science guys are full of people who've got background in betting as well. So we have that lovely kind of like mix of expertise, which can advise an operator who really, gets it, but is a little bit afraid about how to do it. Yeah. And I understand that they would be, but I would say just come and have a conversation with us. We'll do it with you. We've got all the tools here, tell you how to do it, give you, work out how it works with your customer base, and then take it from there. And that's kind of, I think, the best thing I can say about PandaScore is that we're all in, basically. Every part of the business wants to connect out to our customers and grow.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. And as a final question, it sounds like a cliche, but esports is definitely going to take over. It's going to surpass the traditional sports betting. But can you maybe predict a year in which will this happen?
Oh, a year! Wow. So which year will be the year for esports? Will it take? I don't know.
5 years.
It's a good question. I wouldn't like to speculate. I think this year is going to be incredibly exciting. I think. Yeah, I wouldn't like to say. I think it will be. It will be, and it goes from geography to geography. So Brazil is about to regulate. We're all sitting that way. Brazil to regulate. Esports is massive there, huge. Polarized market, massive market for esports. Someone, is going to go there. Maybe a couple of operators are going to go there with a brilliant esports product and going to clean up, and that's going to go really well. I think saying that, 1 year, I think it's difficult to say. I think it really does depend on the market, and different things will happen. And we all know that, don't we?
And now since probably pretty soon, Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi will retire. Yeah. So there will be nothing to watch.
No, exactly. That's very true. Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, Oliver, for joining us today. And thank you all the listeners for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and the other platforms. You can find them on HIPTHER.com/podcast. Ollie, thank you so much for being here.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Lovely to talk to you.
Thank you for joining. Be sure to check back next week for the next HIPTHER Talks and subscribe on Amazon Music, Overcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, and Pandora.